Right, good morning. So what we're going to be doing today and actually over the next, well, throughout the next month on different weeks, I'm inviting the heads of our elective departments to come and talk to the parents about what they offer in their department. I know we're a third of the way through this school year, and so it's kind of weird to start thinking about next year, but this is actually the time of year as a school and within our system that we start thinking about next year. When we come back from Christmas, we're going to be having the students sign up for their classes for next year. And so this is the time of year where we want kids and parents to really start thinking about, like, what do they want to take for their electives? You know, in their core classes, they don't have a lot of choices. They take the next level. But we do have a lot of elective choices out there. And this year, what I wanted to try to do is educate the parents about what we offer as a school so that you can, because I know parents, even though we as parents don't think we have a lot of influence over our children, we actually do. And so that way, if you hear about something that, like, hey, that would be a really great class for my child to take, that's the point of this, for you to know what we offer as a school. And so we're starting this week with our performing arts department, and Mr. Miles Ellis with us today to talk about everything performing arts. So Mr. Ellis,
Well,
take it away.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah, my name is Miles Ellis, and I'm the chairman of the Performing Arts Department. And I'm really appreciative of you guys spending some time with us this morning. And I'm happy to talk to you about our department. So we have one of the largest performing arts departments in the school district. And we offer a wide range of classes, all the way from beginning level, all the way up to really, really advanced. So we'll start with some of the beginning courses. If your kid has always wanted to take a music course, but they didn't get a chance to in middle school, we have some places for them to find a home in the department and learn how to either play an instrument or sing. So they can join beginning guitar. I'm actually sitting in the beginning guitar room right now. And we have a section of that. They can also join beginning piano as well. And both of these classes are designed for the musician that comes into school without any type of musical experience at all, doesn't know how to read music, doesn't know anything about the notation, has never played these instruments. And the courses are tailored to teach them all of the basics of not only how to play their instrument, but also give them a really good grounding in music theory. So by the time that they get done with a year of piano or a year of guitar, that they're to the point where they can independently select music on their own and learn on their own if they choose to. We also have options for students to go on in those as well. So we also offer a guitar 2 through 4 and a piano 2 through 4 as well. I should also add too, if your student plays piano or guitar, they can join, and then we'll assess them where they are, even if they've never taken an organized guitar or piano class. We can create a class for them, basically based on their level of where they are, whether they go back into the beginning level or they're a level advanced. So we try to make it as easy as possible for them to join either both the piano or the guitar. The other beginning level class that we have is beginning choir, which is designed for the student that didn't get a chance to sing in choir in middle school, or maybe did, but isn't quite up to the level of the more advanced choir. And so once again, this is a class that stresses the basics of singing, learning how to vocalize properly, learning how to breathe, how to sing with good posture and good pronunciation and enunciation, and then also a very, very good grounding in music theory as well. So that at the end of a year of beginning choir, 99% of our kids would actually then go on to the more advanced groups. But even if they were not able to do that, they would have a very good idea of how to use their voice properly and also how to read music. Everybody who graduates out of it just 1 year is going to learn how to read music. I'm a really big believer in making sure that people are musically literate, just as they are in English or any of the language classes. So those are the beginning level classes. And then we have a number of advanced classes. Maybe some of your students are in them right now. And these classes are designed for students that had previous musical training in middle school. So we have an advanced, or actually we have an intermediate level class for kids who are incoming from middle school to take. So there's an intermediate orchestra, there's an intermediate band, and then there's an intermediate choir. And these are basically designed for kids who have not had any high school experience in choir. So it's that first year is designed to kind of get them up to the level of the more advanced groups. So currently at the school, we have 2 orchestras, we have 2 bands, and we have actually 4 choirs. We have 2 traditional choirs and 2 jazz choirs. So there's a really, really wide range of offerings for students to take. And we've been very fortunate to have quite a lot of success as we've taken the more advanced groups out into music festivals, both locally and across the state. We have placed very highly in festivals, and it's really a treat to work with the students in the advanced ensembles, because not only are they excellent musicians, but they're also really, really kind people, and we promote a lot of community within the groups. These are kids that not only play well together, but they also hang out together. They support each other. You know, music is all about collaboration, and it really is about kind of all getting together to form yourselves around a goal. So we have a lot of really kind of good feeling, good spirit, and a lot of fun in these groups as well. In addition to the music offerings, we also have a full slate of dramatic classes as well. We have drama 1, we have drama 2, drama 3, drama 4, and these are designed, the drama 1 class is designed as an incoming class for students, whether or not they've had previous dramatic experience or not, to take that drama 1 class. And Miss Woods is an excellent instructor. The students get all sorts of opportunities to perform, both in the classroom on the little stage and also on the main stage in the theater. And our productions are really, really well done, very professionally done. And many of our students from the drama program have actually gone on to careers in drama, just as the students from the music programs have gone on to careers in music as well. So those are the 3 basic areas that we offer. We have a very, very vibrant instrumental, choral, and dramatic program, and to suit basically every high school need, with the goal being that a kid that is coming in and gets 4 years of experience is really, really ready to move on to the next level, whether it be collegiately or professionally. And it feels like they're fully prepared to take on the next challenges. Does anybody have any questions? We also have a couple of videos I wanted to show you too, but does anybody have any questions at this point?
At the last concert, you mentioned PH is getting a new performing arts building. Can you tell us more about that?
I would be very, very happy to tell you more about that. Yeah. So after long waiting and many, many years, the district approved our new performing arts building, which is going to be built directly across the walkway from the theater. So if you know the campus at all, it'll be next to Piedmont Road, basically next to the administration building and across
right outside my window here.
Yeah. If you look closely at your screen out that window, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art facility that is going to, it's about 2 to 3 times bigger than our current facility. We finally have a proper choral classroom, which I'm really excited about. And then some of the design features for it are super exciting and interesting. For example, the walls behind the classrooms that have the band, orchestra, and choirs behind them, they actually can be opened up so that we can actually perform out onto the grass. In other words, kind of creating like an amphitheater effect there, with the idea that the campus, right now we're kind of shunted off into the back 40 of the campus. This is going to be really a part of now the the main life of the campus. We have 20 to 25% of the students in the school that walk through that building anyway and take classes. So this is really kind of going to make it a lot more open to the school. And we intend to use the opportunity to play lunchtime concerts, evening concerts, right from that very building out onto the lawn when the weather is good. So we're really excited about it. So all of the rooms are going to be acoustically engineered to produce the best sound and have the best materials in them. I mean, it's really what the kids here deserve to have, because it's such a good program. And our kids have for a long time been working with very kind of dilapidated facilities that were built at the beginning. I mean, they're original to the school. The G building where we are right now is one of the only original buildings at the school. So it's older than me. And that's saying something. And I'm in better shape than that building. Anyway, so we're really excited about that. We're supposed to break ground this spring. And so if your student is a freshman or sophomore this year, they should be able to enjoy at least 1 year in this fabulous new building, which I have on good authority. The district is trying to make an architectural showpiece for the district. So we're really happy. We're super excited about it. I've got my shovel ready to go. I'm ready to start digging any moment as soon as they say go to get this thing up, because it's going to be really exciting to have. Thank you for asking that question.
Yeah, so just in case you're confused about where it's going to be and you don't actually know where my office is, or I'm like pointing behind me and you're like, well, Miss Davis, I don't know where your office is. It's like where the Senior Glen is, actually where we had our homecoming dance last week on the Senior Glen. That's where it's going to be. We're still have the Senior Glen. So basically, if you were to drive down Piedmont Road and look at the campus, you will see the administration building and you see the art building behind the trees, like down that slope. And then there's a wooden fence that connects the administration building and the art building. Where that wooden fence is basically where this building is going to be, right smack in the middle of that wooden fence. So that we're really excited about it. Like Mr. Ellis said, we are going to be breaking ground in April, late April, thereabouts. So right around the end of the school year is when they will be breaking ground, and the whole Senior Glen will be fenced off. And then all through the summer and next year will be under construction, with the hope and the goal that it will open for when school opens in the 24-25 school year. That's when this building will be up and ready to go. So great.
Grace is asking, do we have marching band? No, we don't have marching band. We do play at the football game. So, and it's, you were asking which year or level of band is required to go to the game. So we actually have both levels of band go to the games. It's great for the freshmen because they get to play with the upperclassmen, and it's great for the upperclassmen. We have a wonderful time there. It's a super fun kind of bonding experience. And the kids get to learn about football too, which is near and dear to my heart. Many of our students do not understand the first thing about football. So I make sure they at least know what a first down is and a touchdown. But we play at the home games, and it's always a really fun time. So I brought a couple of videos to show you. We just recently did a couple of concerts. One of the videos is taken from West Valley College. Our wind ensemble was invited to perform at West Valley College last month with the West Valley College Wind Ensemble. And so maybe we could show that one first, Miss Davis. So this is the Washington Post March by John Philip Sousa. This is the upper level band that we have. So this band is made up of sophomores, juniors, and seniors. That looks like the choir, Miss Davis.
This one?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, right there. And this is John Philip Sousa's The Washington Post March.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being such a kind audience. We'd like to
kind of fast forward past my talking.
Washington.
And so that was our wind ensemble at West Valley College. Hopefully you were able to enjoy that performance. I know putting music on Zoom is always a little bit of a dicey proposition. And then we have a recording from our choral concert too, that we just did a couple of weeks ago. This is our concert choir. Our concert choir is one of the most highly decorated choirs in the state of California. They usually win first or second place in every contest that they enter. And have done very, very well over the past decade. This is a piece called Feller from Fortune that we just performed.
Sally is the bride of God harbor, making songs and sausages, drinking rum and wine and glasses, but the boys brought home to Sally goes to church every Sunday, not for to sing or for to hear, but to sing a fellow from fortune, what was out here missionary. Catch all this one, catch all the other ones, sing around this one, sing around she, dance around this one, dance around that one, tickle down this one, tickle down dee dum dum dum, diddle dee dum dee dum dee diddle dee dum dum dee dum dee diddle dee dum dum. Sally got a mountain new paper, mother said that he's in it better, till she got down with the fellow from fortune, what was out here missionary. Catch all this one, catch all that one, sing around this one, sing around she, dance around this one, dance around that one, tickle down this one, tickle down diddle dee dum dum diddle dee, diddle dee dee diddle dee. Uncle George got up in the morning, he got up in a hell of a tear, and he ripped the horse right out of his breeches. Now he's got their hair well. Catch all this one, catch all that one, sing around this one, sing around she, dance around this one, dance around that one, tick tock tock. This one diddle 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 diddle. fishing all day long. He can't see fishermen never go down. Sing your one, Jimmy Jump take us. I'll be home in the spring of the year. Catch a whole best one, catch a whole bad one. Sing around this one, dance around this one, dance around that one. Diddle dum this one, diddle dum dee. Diddle diddle dee, diddle dee, diddle 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 dee, diddle diddle dee, diddle 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 dee, diddle da, diddle da. Yeah!
All right, so that's just a little sampling of some of the musical stuff that goes on around here. If you want to actually hear better fidelity recordings of that, we actually have our own choir YouTube page. You just look up PHHS choirs, and you'll actually be able to find every recording from the last few concerts in there. And you can watch them not on Zoom. That did bring up memories of distance learning though, Miss Davis. Yeah. But anyway, so that gives you a little sense of some of the musical excellence that we have going on here. And like I said before, we have groups that are as good as the ones you heard, all the way down to the very, very beginning level in choir, piano, and guitar. Is concert band for first year. So concert band is for first high school year, but to be in concert band, you need to have played your instrument for 2 or 3 years at the middle school level. So yeah, there's no beginning band at high school, and that's actually fairly typical. So that's not one of the places where a beginner could go. Same thing with the orchestra as well. But we can get beginners into the choir level. In a year of time in the first level of choir, I can get beginning students up to the level that they need to be to get into the concert choir. And I've done that on many occasions. So if you want to get them involved in the ensemble programs here, that's the best way to do it, is the beginning choir. Any other questions?
So there's more to this question.
Oh.
So ensemble is for years 2 through 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the titles of the classes are Advanced Band 1 and then Advanced Band 2 through 4. Advanced Band 1 is concert band. That's where the typical experience would be the incoming 9th graders from middle school. These are kids that had 3 years of musical training at the middle school level and probably a year or 2 at elementary school level. That's why we call it advanced band. There is no true beginning band or beginning any instrumental ensemble at Piedmont Hills High School, or really at any of the high schools. If the only beginning instruments that we have are the non-ensemble instruments, the instruments that play by themselves, basically. So piano and guitar. That's, if they want to play an instrument, that's where a beginner, a true beginner, can start. But yeah, they need to have some level of technical excellence on their instrument to even begin in the string or the band programs at high school level. So good question there.
You guys go to Disneyland every year, and which level of band goes to Disneyland?
So we take the several different groups to Disneyland. So it would be the wind ensemble. That would be the upper level band. That's the one you heard on the recording of Washington Post. We'll take the symphony orchestra, which is the upper level orchestra. We will take, last year I actually took all of the choirs. I took a vocal jazz ensemble, the freshman choir, and the concert choir there too. The freshman choir was quite exceptional. Generally, I'm not going to take the freshman band to Disneyland, but yeah, so it's the advanced groups. Yeah.
If a student went to the band in 9th grade and not continue on 10th grade, I'm assuming because the 10th grade schedule is very crowded, can a student join the band again in the 11th or 12th, or better continue without stopping in the school?
Yeah, they can, but it is really, really important that they keep up their skills in that 10th grade year. And we have a lot of options for sophomores to take the performing arts classes too, by the way. There is an issue with, having to take PE that year, but we have plenty of options and lots of sophomores in the program. But if none of those work, because we've got summer school options, we've got an option for a 7th period, lots of different things they can do. But if none of those work, I actually have one student in wind ensemble this year that was in that same boat, that could not, for whatever reason, take a 7th period last year. And as a junior, they're now in wind ensemble. But it is important that they continue to keep their skills up. You can't just like stop playing for a year and expect to be at wind ensemble level. because there's a lot of expertise that's required of you to be in that group. But yeah, that is a possibility for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And I just want to explain that a little bit more, because there was last year, well, this is actually the first school year that this rule has applied. It used to be possible for sophomores to defer PE, and a lot of kids in our performing arts departments would defer PE until later in high school. That's no longer possible. The district does not allow that anymore. So sophomores have to take PE, which has caused problems. So like Mr. Ellis said, there's different ways we can accommodate that. A student is welcome to take a 7-period day. That can be a long day for a lot of students, so they may not necessarily do that. We also, this past year, we offered world history in the summer. So to allow students to take world history before their sophomore year, so they got that requirement out of the way, and then they had room in their schedule to do performing arts. So we'll work with the students and figure out a way, because we want them to stay in performing arts. That's very important to us as a school. So we will work with the students to figure out how to make everything work in their schedule. But as we talked about before, the 10th grade year is a difficult year. There's a lot of required courses that they have to take, and that typically is a difficult year to fit in electives. But we work with the students to figure out how to make that work.
And we have a lot of sophomores in the program that have done this too, because, it's, even the ones that end up having to take a 7-period day, a lot of our kids basically take performing arts, not necessarily because they're planning on becoming a music teacher or a professional musician or something like that. They take it because they need it for their souls. Basically, that's their therapy. And it's what gets them through the day. It's not just the playing of music too, but the whole community oriented approach of the classes. That's one of the things that during distance learning, it was so difficult to keep people going in those classes, because while, Miss Wong and myself and Miss Woods did the very, very best we could, to continue to allow the students to get, improve on their skills and stuff like that, there was no way to replicate the community experience and the project-based experience of working on a goal together and performing together as a group. And so our students really, really understand, how important the collaborative element is just to their well-being. And they really, really find that they need it. And it helps them get through the rest of their day, and most of the kids that are in the programs too have committed themselves to the arts, because they've been taking it for, over 3 years, most of them. And so it's really something that's very, very important to them. So that's one of the reasons why we bend over backwards to make sure that we find ways for them to be able to fit this in their schedule, because it's just super important to them.
Miles, can you talk a little bit about what are the, well, I guess let's multi-part question. Like, what is the homework expectation in the performing arts classes? And then what is the after school performance expectation? Because, there are several performances that are done throughout the year. And so what's the expectation? Just so a parent knows, like, going into this class, this is kind of like the outside of the school day expectation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's a good question. We'll start with the homework. So, it's a little different. Art classes are different in terms of homework expectations than, say, like a typical math class, where the instructor would say, okay, tomorrow I want you to come in, you have to have page 35 done, all of the odd numbered problems. And when the kid gets to the end of the odd numbered problems on their page, they know they're done. It's a little bit different. It's like basically working on a project that you would work on. The homework expectation is that you're able to play or sing your part, or know your part if you're in the dramatic program. For some kids, that will go quickly and they can do pretty much almost all their work in class. For other kids, there's going to be technical passages that they have to take home. In all of the performing arts classes, we actually have our kids meeting during the school day, during lunch, usually once a week, to work in sections together, to work on their music, so they're not taking stuff home. But I would say that it would be a really, really extraordinary student that would not have anything to do at home. All of us try to choose work that demands students grow a little bit, so that their level of musicianship grows, as they're learning how to play pieces. And so I think if you're trying to put like an hour requirement on it, I can't imagine a kid having more than a couple of hours, probably less than a couple of hours of homework per week on it. And like I said, I try to provide opportunities for them at school, like for example during lunchtime and stuff like that, for sections like the clarinet section to meet together just by themselves, student led, to work on technical problems and stuff too. We also, by the way, we also have a enough fund. We do some fundraisers and we have enough money to be able to hire private instructors to come in and work with our kids once a week in orchestra, band, and choir. And that actually helps quite a bit too, because students are able to kind of work with a professional on their instrument. That actually makes their achievement higher, and the stuff that they have to take home less, because they've got an expert there that's on the spot helping them with things that they're struggling with. So I would say, yeah, you're looking at between an hour and 2 of homework per week or so, which is a little bit less than I think most of their other classes. Now, in terms of the out of school requirements, it kind of depends on the group. The drama classes, their performances are almost all during school time, with maybe a couple of evening performances. So that's very minimal. The choir, band, and orchestra programs have 3 main concerts, which are in the evening. We just had our fall concert in October. We'll have our winter concert in December, and then we have the spring concerts in May. So those are 3 kind of big ones. And then each of those groups will do a local music festival, which generally is on either a Friday night or a Saturday during the day. And it's local, so within 10 to 15 miles of the school. And then if it's a trip year, then that means that we're probably going to go down to Anaheim with the better groups. That's actually, we don't usually do that every year. It's usually every other year. And that would be a Thursday and Friday away from school, and then a Saturday and Sunday too. So probably you're looking at around 5 to 6 performances per year. Each student at the beginning of the year gets a list of all of their performances within the first week, so they can mark it off their calendar and everything. But yeah, that is part of the performing arts program, is that we do perform. That's part of the curriculum of the course. And so that's about it. Also, if they're in the band program, they will play at the home football games too, when the home football games are on a Friday. We had some home football games on Thursdays, and I got so many comments from parents about, do we have to go to this? But I just said, no, it's just too late for us to do Thursday football games, but we will do the Friday ones too.
Unusual large number of home Thursday games this year. I mean, always Thursday games now, and I don't know how much you guys, if you're know about the athletic world, that's because of referee shortages, that there just aren't enough referees out to have football games only on Friday now, which is why there are Thursday games. And then but yeah, the Thursday games, those are late nights. It's yeah, I understand why you wouldn't want to do it Thursday game.
We got a question from Grace here. Does students required to record the music as homework or play the homework in class? So that's a very good question. Generally, if I'm having students play individual parts or sing individual parts, for me, they will use something called Flipgrid, which is one of the only good things to come out of distance learning. Is I learned how to use this technology. And basically what it is, it's a piece of software which allows students to record their part at home, and then it just automatically gets to me that way. So we're not spending time listening to people play their individual parts in class. So yeah, that's the general way that we would do like an individual part like that. I know that the 9th graders this year are all working on their major scales, and so those are all done on Flipgrid, and I just correct those before or after class, and they get the grade. Most of the time, I'm not doing like part playing for them, because we do something it's called formative assessment. And formative assessment means that it's like testing, but it's testing that happens like in a classroom environment. So I can hear whether or not they know their parts right then and make corrections right there on the spot. And it's not for a grade or anything. It's just for them basically to get better. But from time to time, we will definitely do some part playing. And that is done at home. And the other thing that's nice about the at-home model is some kids get super nervous playing in front of their classmates and me. So when you do the Flipgrid way, they can they can do it 25 times until they finally do it right, which really has a benefit of, one, it takes nerves out of the equation, and two, if they have to do it 25 times to get it right, that means every time they did it, they got a little bit better and a little bit better, and they were finally able to do it. So it kind of makes it a little bit more authentic, and I think it's just better for everybody that way. So that's a good question.
You actually touched on something that I think parents always want to know. How are your classes graded?
So we grade on a combination of several different criteria. So part of it is part testing, like we were just speaking of. Another part, particularly for the upper level groups, is sectional attendance. So they need to attend their weekly sectional rehearsal. And then they get a grade for their concert performance as well. And then we generally do some type of a summative assessment at the end of each semester too, which will be based on whatever it is that they've been working on. Like for example, the end of the year summative assessment for wind ensemble is their audition for next year's wind ensemble. Same thing with concert band. So it'll be part of a little piece that they have to play, some major scales that they have to play for me. And of course, they want to do really, really well on this test, not just for their grade, but because it's going to determine where their chair seating is next year. So they have intrinsic motivation other than just a grade to do super well on it. So we will do a big assessment at the end of each year, of each semester as well. So that's how they're graded.
And how is that different than, say, like the guitar class and how a guitar is graded?
Okay, so guitar, because guitar is not an ensemble class where people are generally playing together at the same time, that's on much more of an individual basis. Both the guitar and piano class kind of work the same way. So we do, in guitar class and piano is the same way, we do regular recitals where the students are up at the front of the room playing a piece for the whole class. I don't do Flipgrid on the guitar and piano recitals that much, although I'm not sure if Miss Wong may do Flipgrid, but of course a lot of kids don't have pianos at home, so they pretty much would have to do their assessment in school. I generally have them up here because part of the curricular goals for guitar is being able to get over stage fright and being able to perform in front of a group. And so I want them to have that experience, and so they'll have, by the time we're done with the year, my beginning guitar players will probably have played 40 recitals. And by the end of the year, they're really good, actually. So it's basically almost all performance-based assessment on them, which is basically how well they perform on guitar. Although we do also have some pencil and paper music theory tests as well. It's a very robust course that covers a wide variety of issues, all the way from advanced classical technique all the way up into pretty heavy level music theory. Students are always surprised at the academic rigor of that course, and I've had people that have gone on to Stanford tell me that this was the most challenging course that they took this year because it requires a lot of vocabulary, and then there's also the physical skill of playing the guitar as well. But they really know their stuff when they get out too. So they get a pretty broad range of assessment in that class. Same thing with the piano classes too.
Great. I had another question in my mind and it just went right out. I guess that was, something that you touched on it, but we want to make clear to parents. In the piano and the guitar class, it is not necessary for them to own an instrument. Is it necessary for them to own an instrument in any of the classes?
No, it isn't necessary. We're blessed with having enough school instruments to be able to pretty much provide an instrument for everybody. The exception, of course, is piano. We can't go out and buy a piano for everybody at school, as much as I'm sure we'd love to, and you'd love to find a place for it in your home somewhere. So that's kind of the one, although I will say, and I'd like to shout out the district about this one. When we were in distance learning, the district had electronic keyboards for everybody to have at home, which is pretty unique and really, really laudable of the district to be able to provide that. But yeah, we have a guitar for everybody that needs one. If they're in the band and the orchestra program, we have an instrument for everybody that needs them. And actually, kind of some inside knowledge, we have a grant that became available to the performing arts departments in the district, which basically is going to be providing around $1 million a school for instrumental and choral supplies, which is going to allow us to do a lot of capital buying of new instruments. You saw them in that first recording of the band, those big shells that go behind the band there, the acoustical shells, we'll be able to get that. So we're actually going to be really upgrading some of the instruments that we have available to students. You know, the district is one of the few districts I can think of that actually understands that once you buy an instrument, sooner or later it needs to be replaced. And a lot of our instruments are from the 60s and 70s, and they've been through 40 or 50 years of being played, and that's going to wear out an instrument to the point that it's like no longer playable. And so we're kind of getting to that spot with some of the instruments, and it's really great that the district has shunted this money off to us to have us go and resupply all of the programs. So we're doing pretty well in terms of like providing students with the resources that they need.
All right, parents, do you have any other questions? How many hours does a student usually need to practice after school for drama class?
So the drama class, the rehearsals and everything are held during school time. Students will need to memorize their lines, so and that's definitely going to be like you'd memorize anything, times tables, the periodic table, you know, however long it takes students to actually get their lines down. So it's kind of it kind of depends on where they are in the production process. I'd say probably you're looking at an hour or so at least of rehearsal a day, depending on how fast your kid is able to memorize their lines, because that's a necessary part of any dramatic production. But almost all of their rehearsals right now are during the school day as part of the regular class.
Any other questions, parents? Well, I hope that you have learned about the Performing Arts Department today, and you can encourage your students to sign up for performing arts if they think that this would be something good for them. I remember what I was going to say. I was thinking, Miles, when you were talking about getting over stage fright, in my kind of like where I've been sitting professionally, I have always found the Performing Arts Department, and it's kind of counterintuitive, but if your student is very shy and they are somebody that has always struggled to speak out in class, performing arts, like the drama program or even like guitar, piano, is actually a great class for them to get over that and learn how to get over that fright of performing in front of others and speaking in front of others. It's really, and so if you're worried about them, you know, with that and like, how are they going to go off to college and be able to do that? This is actually a great department to learn to get over that fear.
It is, and that comes from just the act of doing it often enough so that you kind of get used to it, but also because the vast majority of our students, I'm going to say pretty much every one of our students, is super supportive to everybody that's performing. So they have a lot of support from their peers too, which can really help them if they know that everybody in the class is rooting for them to do well. That's a big part of what we preach here, that we are all supportive of each other all the time. So thank you for bringing that up, Ginny. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
I also wanted to invite you to, if you're interested in hearing the groups, we have a number of performances that are coming up next month too. On the December the 2nd, we have the Drama Holiday Showcase, which will be after school. On the December the 14th, we have the instrumental concert, which will feature the orchestras and bands. And on December the 16th, we have the winter choral concert, which will feature all of the choirs and also the jazz combo too, which is part of our jazz program here. So the 2nd, the 14th, and the 16th. I'm sure that'll be up on the school website. And that's a great way to kind of, if you've never been to a concert, to really kind of get a sense about what we're up to here and see our students perform. So love it if you were able to come in and take in those events with us.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Thank you, parents. I'm hoping that visual arts is going to join us next week. I have to confirm with Mr. Tippett, but that's the plan for next week. So we'll learn about the other arts that we offer at Piedmont Hills. Thank you, parents, for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Ellis, for joining. Everybody have a wonderful week, okay? Thank you so much.